Welcome back to another one of our threaded together episodes of It's Time, where Dr. Jen and I are in multiple locations and threading together pieces of this content around one core concept, and that is how we can, in midlife, really deploy AI to help optimize all of our thrival goals. So, we've all heard a ton about AI, and I think each of us has gotten into everything from an amplified search engine with ChatGPT to maybe some tools that help us make graphic design or help us make videos that are in aggregate. But I think the more I'm learning about AI, the more Dr. Jen and I are realizing that it's a must-have skill set for us, no matter where we are in our adoption curve. And if we look at trying to get the most out of our horizon ahead, the thing that Dr. Jen and I just are so focused on is how to help midlife and the cohort around midlife thrive right now and in the long haul. AI is going to be a mission critical component of that. So what we wanted to do today was just set the table for how to use AI to really more to as an idea percolation opportunity on invitation for you to know about kind of the categories of how you can deploy AI, and then also offer specific platforms that might be best suited as of right now. This is a changing landscape for that category of deployment. When we think about AI, we think of it as it is a tool, it is an amplifier, it is foundational for you to get your vision, your efficacy, your joy out there more rapidly and more robustly. So it's not a replacement for your thinking. It is not a replacement of your creativity. It is, however, an accelerant of whatever you can architect. And in the absence of embracing it, you are effectively sidelining yourself from participating full throttle or even, mid throttle in the years and definitely the decades that are ahead. So, without this being an AI class, we wanted to do two things. One was just talk through the categories where AI can be most effective to leverage you. And then, secondly, give you at least the names of some of the platforms that are suited for those categories. And then I have a sense that we're probably going to go a lot more deeper into this topic with some specialists and experts who are way more qualified than I am. And Dr. has a lot of this expertise as well. But we wanted to at least start the conversation with this kind of short and sweet episode. So if it kind of, we always talk about why does it matter? Why is this topic worth your time? Why is any behavior change or any effort or activity in this category worth your time? And so we sort of start there and say, why? Well, there are kind of three reasons. One is if you're in midlife, you are without a doubt carrying a differential cognitive load. You've got career, you've got family, you've got caregiving, sandwich, kids, parents, and then you're also likely percolating and planning on new chapters. And so that is just an intense cognitive load. AI can reduce a lot of that mental friction. It just, frankly, can take a lot of the iterative bandwidth and a lot of the cycle time out of it to free up your own moments for silence or reflection or creativity. So this is a time of life that it's firing on all cylinders, and it can be overwhelming and exhaustive. So putting in the right AI partnerships can reduce that friction and free up energy and time. And that helps you drive growth and creativity and, most importantly, joy, thrival, the thing we talk about. Secondly, there is a real gender adoption gap. So when we're talking about midlife women right now are less likely to be deploying the generative AI tools. The data is staggering. It's like something like 20% of the tools that are being deployed right now are, have any women who are interacting or driving that deployment. So there is a gap, and trying to get women over that learning gap and that familiarity gap is critical for us when we talk about midlife cohorts. But I think it's critical for the world at large, because this is going to be a fundamental part about how to operate in the world at large. It would be like if women didn't know how to drive cars, which, inappropriate humor that we might hear aside, you have to know how to use the tools that are expediting the communities and the lifestyles that we're in right now. I think thirdly, AI is not really just about how can I get more done. It's about how can I be more effective in the way I deploy my time and my thinking, so that your actual activities and your goals are more aligned with your values, because you have that time to reflect. And you also have the efficiency partner kind of helping you get through those tools. So think of AI as kind of a thought partner that is architected and guided by you, and then also muscle that's getting you further in your productivity and your productivity toolkit. With that kind of backdrop around the why, let's talk about the house. Some really obvious ways you can deploy AI are around sort of your personal planning and your life designs. You can use generative AI tools like a chat GBT or a perplexity and try to brainstorm what's my next chapter. And so all of the work that we do with women in workshops and on a client basis, you can do a lot of that foundational work yourself with these iterative tools and thinking about an effective prompt. With all of your AI platforms, one of the keys to success is effective prompting. So being able to feed into what you've done to date, what you've enjoyed about what you've done to date, what you're interested in exploring. But there are 3 or 4 different platforms where you could be running scenarios with the same set of inbound information that helps you think through what might be next in your personal planning or your life design question, which is really common in the midlife world. And you could also use the AI platforms to help you think through kind of a decision dashboard. So if you thought about what's important to you, is it location? Is it time with family? Is it financial return? Is it a set of causes that are important? You can set up your own grading system and then put the different AI platforms to work to serve up opportunities, how they fit in that kind of a gradient system. So that's a pretty generic example, but personal planning and life design is an area where you can put the massive aggregation models and learning models to work on refining what might be a good fit for you. Second area, which is important, of course, in our domain where we talk a lot about vitality and thrival, is using AI to help you sort through the day-to-day plan and kind of put together an architecture plan for your movement and your nutrition and your mindset and your recovery and your community and your beyond, to help you actually create an active metric plan around whatever those goals might be. So habit tracking, little micro nudges on those habits. The AI platforms that are out there, Adapt AI, there may be a couple of them that we'll give examples on that you can use to help be an active partner in both creating the mechanism for your tracking in those health and longevity arenas, but also creating the behavioral prompts through your day to day to help you be on track like a virtual accountability partner. So that's one way to think about it in terms of the second category of health and vitality and kind of longevity support. AI journaling and reflection can also be part of that. And then being able to use different AI tools to kind of capture that journaling and codify and kind of get trend analysis out of what it is you have been journaling. The third arena where you can really see AI amplifying your capabilities, your human capabilities, is in the world of productivity and creative launches. If you think of it like using a Notion AI or another an LLM, a learning language model, large learning language model, if I can get the acronym right, is to take, things that you have been ingesting for your own productivity and summarizing it with, action items about what does all of this research mean? Can you give me a bulleted summary? And then you can iterate on it again to sort of try to have a bit of a governor on some of the hallucination effects, run it into different platforms to see what those summaries both come out to be between the two, and then run it in again to see if it's generating the same kind of a synthesis. So it can help you get much more effective and productive in big bodies of research that you're trying to pull together. And then think about creative kind of launches and email campaigns or content campaigns, and using things like an upskill to bring that AI foundational learning and then being able to fine tune it for your own practice expertise, your own mastery kit. So I think again about those first 3, which are around the sector, the product and the productivity and the creative launches, and then also around like your own planning and life design. But then getting kind of specific around your social communities and maybe even a little bit around your legacy, like using your AI powered tools to organize all of your digital assets, your media, your photographs, your videos. You can dump all of that into a couple of different AI platforms, which can then synthesize it on a chronology or a geography or a people basis or a story that you want to tell. It kind of takes the things that are in our own photo AI generated photo tools, like your iPhone or your Android film, and it takes them next level so that you're not out there looking at them all in mass and trying to create different albums or different, look at these people at this moment in time. Actually, you can give AI a set of parameters and it will bring back to you the video storyline that meets those parameters, which can be super time saving and powerful. On mindset and resilience, which is one of our key pillars, that's another arena where if you use AI, you can have these actually video conversations with AI, talk about your future you. So I think many of us have been through the meditation practice where you try to envision your future self. And you can use that same exercise with the toolkit that an AI language model, learning model can deploy and actually bring scenarios in to bring that visioning to a more robust, layered reflection of what does that mean in 10 or 20 years. And so you might be trying to say, I envision myself being a shaman in this area of the country, or I envision myself spending half of my time with my grandchildren and the other 25% in robust physical activity and 25% as a poet or a writer. And then the AI platform you're engaging with can start to articulate with visuals as well as copy points what that might look and feel like, and then you can refine it from there and say it's actually not what I was envisioning. Let me think about that one and more clearly, and kind of push your thinking in reaction to a better depth of envisioning than you might have if you were just laying down and having a meditation. You could also use the AI platform to help you do sort of energy audits. Like, this was my last 7 days, and here's how I felt on each day. Excuse me. Here's my calendar. And there might be some insights on, this might have been a catalyst for an increase in energy. This might have been an energy drain. And it is a reflection on the time allocation that maybe you didn't see when you were just reflecting on your week and how you felt about your week. So a whole series of ways to deploy AI in that arena. So if you want to think about the different kinds of AI platforms, there's so many, and we are still learning about these at a rapid rate, but something like brainstorming and planning, a ChatGPT or Perplexity can be a great platform for that. Something like, I need some health and habit support. There are a lot of what people are calling femtech apps, but things that have like the hardware device with it, with an underlying software program. It's also got AI already now embedded in the things like the nutrition and the movement and the recovery tracking and a lot of the wearables that we've already talked about there. If you're trying to synthesize deep Notion is AI is a good platform for synthesizing and trying to get big bodies of research. I think Perplexity helps there too. So does Claude. If you're learning and trying to upskill, there are a myriad of AI platforms that are working in the education space and trying to help in the combination of synthesizing the education and then playing it back to you with like a coursework framework to help you track to a learning set of deliverables, journaling, things like that with AI prompts, and then the digital tools for photos and for media. I think kind of some of the core watch outs with AI, we all know about the hallucinations in AI. But there's also a little bit of training your AI platform to work within your value set and to work within your priority set. So sometimes there's a lot of guidance around interacting with the AI tools around like, make sure that you describe what's important to you. What are your family dynamics? What's your age? What is important to you, and getting this answer back. And then the counterbalance to that is being aware that there are privacy risks. Right? This data is out there, and I think there are a lot of privacy settings you can put in place, but there's a little bit of trepidation around what you want to put into an AI platform if you truly want to keep it private. Just kind of use cases and working with it. If you get to really sort of understanding which AI platform is working best for you for different use cases, we think about kind of the different categories of thrival. And if we try to bring those into, I don't know, 6 or 7 kind of categories, there are different tools that work well for those different categories. Like we were talking about the work and thinking about, what do you want to go do next? And, how do I figure out what my next should look like? A ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, Claude, to some degree, Notion AI or Tome. Those are platforms that can help you synthesize information that's out there and then rewrite and repurpose your resume or your LinkedIn or your purpose statement. Something like a gamma or a tome can help you design and make it be like super compelling visual design of whatever brand asset you're creating for yourself. A Notion AI can build, a structured storyline, some venture pitch, a brand framework. So it's not just ChatGPT on steroids. There are different platforms that can help you execute the outcome you want at a rapid rate. And it's a little bit of just getting comfortable. Like we talk about prototyping everywhere, but prototyping and playing with these platforms and learning what they do that fits what you are hoping to get done. On training your brain, second kind of thing about cognitive strength and rebuilding cognitive load, Claude, ChatGPT are also effective there. So is a platform called MindGrasp and Cerigo. Google AI also has a skill set builder, a brain builder. You can use ChatGPT or Claude just to do like quizzes and puzzles and build a little micro learning app on if you're trying to accelerate your learning on a language or maybe accelerate your learning on another cognitive skill. You can build a little app right in them. MindGrasp is a platform where you can upload PDFs and videos and notes, and then it'll help summarize what those are all saying and then create little quizzes for you. Google AI Skills is really about learning actual AI literacy and practical applications. So it's just, how do I deploy AI? I find that question, I ask all the platforms that and I get different answers, but there's enough of an overlap that you can start to glean what will matter for you. On optimizing the longevity and the energy, ChatGPT and Claude are there because they can help you with a habit plan and kind of keep you accountable. And they create a little tracker and a PDF for you. Something like Whisper, I've been using that. That is like an amped up Siri. It's a much better, for me at least, kind of audio tool. So you could be talking or reflecting with this Whisper AI platform and have it dumped immediately into the other AI platform where you want to be creating your tracker or you want to be creating your journal prompts and reflections. Some of the apps we might all know, like MyFitnessPal and those kinds of apps also already have this underlying AI engine, and you can just understand that they're using that to amplify the output that you used in past use cases with those apps. On the kind of connectivity and the joy spectrum, we think about that as one of our Thriver pillars. Again, Claude, ChatGPT come up with that because they can create like conversation starters, or I'm throwing a dinner party. What are 10 great ideas that I could give to my guests? Or I'm having a really hard conversation with my boss tomorrow. Can we role play this conversation? My boss is like this, and then you describe that person. I am like this, and you describe yourself. The outcome I'm hoping for is that, and you describe that outcome. And then you can have an iterative conversation with ChatGPT about how to get to that outcome. And then say, that didn't work. Let's replay it. Let's try it again. And at a bare minimum, you have practiced the conversation enough so that when you go in there in person, you've got a little bit of a experience curve already and how things might go to help you get the outcome in real life that you just practiced with the virtual AI platform. So that's a little bit of the connection, the creativity, and the social component of how they can be deployed. Whisper also is really helpful there because you can dialogue. And some people, are like, I don't have time to really journal, but I want to talk through these thoughts. Whisper is a really efficient AI platform to do that in. And then Gamma, again, it's a visual presentation deck, but Gamma can help you build the storyline. You could talk the storyline into Whisper and then drop that storyline that you talked into Whisper into a ChatGPT or a Claude and create a more robust and clearer, well-organized storyline, and then have it be visually compelling within Gamma. And super effectively visually compelling, like within 10 minutes. I'm a terrible graphic designer, and my PowerPoints were always ugly, and that was a stunning and quick way to use it. And the last three, I would say, we talk a lot on this idea of being able to afford this longer life, this longer health span. So the fifth pillar is around how do you use AI to help you in financial confidence and financial security, which are always kind of seemingly at odds when I think about tech and AI. I'm like, is there financial security? I don't really know. But you can use a Claude or a ChatGPT to do financial modeling. For example, I used the Claude on a use case recently where I dumped in some pretty ugly Google Sheets for we have rental homes that we work with for like 8 years of data, and it was cut by season and cut by home and, COVID, pre-COVID, post, and if I'd done the work myself or if I'd given it to an analyst, I would have had to have done a lot of work cleaning up the data. And I was able to drop it in pretty rough and get an 80% answer back. I still have to have the analytic ability to understand where Claude maybe made a mistake because the data was messy and because Claude is an AI platform and not a human, or humans make the same mistakes, which is where maybe I learned to look for them. But there are mistakes that come back, but the efficiency with which I could do that work using Claude it's like a 10x. It was just stunningly fast. Again, you have to quality check it, right? Like you have to get in and actually open up the spreadsheet that Claude outputs and say, hey, that cell's missing data. That's a problem. So you have to build that time into your working process. But it was like an afternoon's worth of work versus, 10 days or 5 days. But anyway, that is just one example of how you can use the tools for financial modeling, financial forecasting. Tendi is kind of an AI powered financial planning and forecasting tool. I have not used it, but I've had it recommended to me. FP Alpha is another one where you can upload your bank statements, your credit card statements, and it will spill out. It's kind of like a Quicken, but you don't have to do the data entry. Or even with Quicken or QuickBooks, you don't do the data entry, but you still have to do the data massaging. And FP Alpha sort of like whispers better than Siri. FP Alpha seems to be better than QuickBooks or Quicken in the workflow process. You more quickly get the synthesis of your spending data. And then, of course, you can use Gamma to make the deck look pretty. Designing your life or your next life, we talked a little bit about that, but I think that the difference here in this pillar is that you can use a Claude or a ChatGPT to play out that decade vision or that 20-year vision with specificity by breaking it back by year and then by input or by variable. So you can play back the different scenarios and say, what would that look like in 5 years if I did that? Notion AI can help you then organize those life goals and get them in a structure that you can wrap your head and wrap your calendar around. Mindcera is another AI-based journaling platform, which can kind of act like a coach and give you some mindset feedback while you're going through this designing your life plan. And then the last pillar, just because we kind of talk about this and keeping your brain fresh overall, is just staying kind of in this world of ongoing learner, continuing growth mindset. Claude and ChatGPT can both be different and effective engines around prompts like, can you give me 10 AI experiments? Or how would you suggest I use AI if I am trying to think about travel planning or recipe planning or workout planning? Or how would you suggest I use AI if I don't know nothing about AI and I want to learn about all the different platforms? So you can imagine I was using it for a little bit of learning for this conversation as well. And it just ends up being a way for you to get a synthesis of what's already out there and see what really resonates with what it is you want to deploy. Google AI Skills is the one that has a lot of use cases with hands-on AI literacy. So if you want to play with and use it. So those are a couple of, or 7 ways to think about using the AI platforms out there. And really what Dr. Jen and I wanted to do was to say, embrace it. And I think for some of us who have kids who maybe are in high school or in junior high and elementary school, I think we have to have a thought leadership role with our families to embrace it and then help our kids understand how to use it and shepherd their learning on this. For a lot of kids, not every school system, not every child, but a lot of kids, it's been treated as like a cheating phenomenon. Like you used ChatGPT, you cheated. It's like, we use calculators now, we use Excel now. And so it's more about how do you think and how do you craft the process and the vision and the thinking when you use an AI tool, and which one do you choose to use in order to accelerate your intention, or if not just accelerate it, deepen it and raise the bar and the quality of that output. So a lot of us have an opportunity to be coaching and thought leaders with our children and maybe with our early employees on how to reposition AI and then create the space and the opportunity set to learn and test and deploy. So that was our hope in having this quicker conversation today. And then we'll bring in some experts who know much more than I do on AI. But for now, it's an invitation to think about it when you're planning for your next set of hopes and dreams in the year ahead. on how you can partner with these AI platforms to be your collaborator and the amplification for all the good it is that you want to do in the world. So thank you for today, and I look forward to when Dr. Jen and I can be in the same room talking with you soon. Thank you so much for spending your time with us here today. If you liked what you heard and you got some tips on how to live better right now and for the long haul, please help us reach more midlife women. Please share and rate and like this show. And we can't wait to continue the dialogue with you on our next episode. Until then, thank you. It's time.